My husband is a transgender man and we've always wanted to start a family together. I have a huge fear of pregnancy, so he offered to carry the baby. It was an insane process. He had to stop taking testosterone for a long time, but he was amazing throughout the whole process, and I did everything in my power to help him feel more comfortable. None of my family know that he's transgender. They're homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics, but our friends know. He posted an ultrasound on his private Instagram, not knowing that my sister follows him on a burner account. Well, she saw the photo and told my whole family. They were furious that I wouldn't tell them. Our plan was always to say that we adopted. They assumed I was the one pregnant and blew up on me, so I just let it go and rolled with the lie because I wasn't going to out my husband. The first couple of months, I let them visit. Eventually, I'd start eating big meals and purposely bloating myself to the point of discomfort so I looked pregnant. They said around the 6-month mark that I was remarkably small, but I just played it off. Eventually, I couldn't lie any longer, so I looked for every excuse in the book not to see my family. I turned down the offers of baby showers, gender reveal parties, and anything that would require us seeing each other. Luckily, my family lives an hour away and we all live busy lifestyles, so them randomly visiting wasn't an issue. The one time they did pop in unexpectedly, we were out of the house. If they FaceTimed, I made a point to be in bed feeling horribly sick so I couldn't give the bump update. I lied my ass off and they just thought that I had a rough pregnancy. My husband gave birth a year ago and went straight back on testosterone, and now we're happy as ever. My family have met our daughter and they adore her. However, a week ago, after an argument between myself and a friend, said friend decided to out my husband by messaging my family and included proof. They did it by adding everybody to a group chat, posting screenshots and basically the whole story, then saying, "I'll leave you all to discuss." Then they left the chat and blocked me and my husband. In a transphobic rage, my mother raced to my home and all but beat my front door down. I had to call the cops. I've been disowned, but that hasn't stopped the daily calls and texts coming from my parents, aunts, uncles, siblings, and etc. They've been leaving nasty transphobic slurs on my voicemail and other hateful crap. I ended up crying to my friend yesterday who told me that I should have been honest with my family as it would have saved me a lot of heartache. That, or we said we miscarried, then adopted later. I'm not happy things played out the way they did. I just feel so sad now. Was I wrong to lie to my family in order to protect my husband? My husband and I entered our relationship monogamous, and honestly everything seemed amazing. We have a couple hobbies that we do together and friends that we hang out with, and everything's been fine. My husband got a new job 2 years ago and meets lots of people all the time. I understand we still get crushes on people, but we love each other and I expect us to never act on that. One day he came to me asking for an open relationship and he was obviously researching it. He framed it by saying how good it would be for us and told me about all the positives. I was so secure in our relationship and figured, you know what, why not, even though I didn't really want it. I should have stuck up for myself more, but honestly, maybe this was meant to happen. He must have had someone in mind because right away he already had 2 women lined up and was already seeing them. It's just crazy. We work full time, so we have our evenings to spend time together and do our hobbies together, but suddenly he's out on dates. A lot. It's really hurt me and I tried talking to him about it, but he was kind of manipulative and I see it now. After this, I finally started meeting other people online and chatting. I met one man who was very, very handsome and a really great guy and decided to meet up. I've never felt these feelings before. My husband and I kind of had a slow burn that got better with time, but this is just something completely different. We connect on a totally different level. It's better in the bedroom, so much passion, enthusiasm, and exploring. The conversations are better. He takes an interest in what I have to say and I love hearing about what he has to say. And honestly, we seem like a better fit. I've even opened up and told him about this open relationship and I didn't really want it and all the things that go with it. That's when he confessed that he's been waiting to see if it was possible for us to be monogamous. I'm planning on leaving my husband. I'm seeing a lot of things now that I never saw before now that I've been with this new man for about 5 months. My husband has been coming home more often and I think things are falling apart with one of his women, possibly the other as well. I honestly don't even ask about it anymore, which I think he's kind of sensed. He whines and moans that I'm going out too often, but I just kind of tell him the same thing he told me and do it anyway. He said he wants to talk about going back to normal. I don't know what to say to him. I want to be kind, but I also want to let him know that he destroyed what we had and what we could have had. I really don't want to do therapy or try to save this relationship. It feels over to me. What should I do and how should I go about it? My 39-year-old husband is the breadwinner in our family. He's a pilot who's always working while I'm a stay-at-home mom taking care of our home and our 3 kids. Lately, we've been having a few arguments with him complaining about me not taking care of myself and my looks and always being busy with chores and whatnot. Last night, we got invited to my parents' house. Once we sat down for dinner, my sister and my mom started talking about the preparations for my sister's wedding. My sister talked about her hair, makeup, and dress. My husband kept giving me looks and raising his eyebrows whenever the words haircut or makeup or new dress got brought up. He decided to pitch in the conversation and started openly criticizing my current look and how unladylike I've become recently, especially after our 3rd child. He went on commenting about how much he'd like me to change my hair color, get my nails done, or buy a new nice dress to wear like the other wives do for once. I was stunned, mouth wide open, and so were my parents. My brother-in-law was laughing secretly and my sister was looking at me head to toe in the poor sister type of way. My husband didn't stop at that and ranted about how I should start taking care of us and be more energetic, positive, outgoing, sexy, and so on and so on. Then he looked at me and asked me why I've become so unladylike all of a sudden. He kept looking at me in a whatever happened to you, what changed type of way. I was furious and loudly said, behind every unladylike, miserable woman, there's a trashy, negative, a-hole man. I pointed out what changed, and that is him not pulling enough weight in childcare, delaying, making excuses, and putting house chores upon me constantly while he posts on Facebook about what amazing work he does to provide for us. I cook, clean, wash, do laundry, get up with the baby, and feed and change and bath and so on. He reminded me that I'm a stay-at-home parent and he's the moneymaker. I pointed out that there are a lot of dads who are moneymakers and still do their part as partners and parents. He was stunned, dumbfounded as everyone was looking at him in an awkward, embarrassing way. He got quiet the rest of the visit, just looking down and avoiding eye contact with everyone in the room. He blew up in the car, asking what the hell possessed me to go off on him like that in front of his in-laws, who now have a very false, very misleading impression of him. He said no matter what happens, I should never share our private issues with family. I reminded him of who brought it up first, and he called me petty for making a scene to get back at him for only giving him some innocent advice. I'm not neglecting myself. I do my hair at home, I do activities and wear eye makeup, but just not full makeup. However, it seems like he wants me to do more. He's sulking right now. Did I go too far? Recently, my 54-year-old dad and my 52-year-old mom have divorced. This wasn't a surprise to me though. However, a week after the divorce was finalized, my father got a new girlfriend named Sophia who's 26. I wasn't mad, but I felt like it was a little too soon. At the end of the day though, it's not my business, but I told my dad I couldn't accept her as my new stepmother as it was too soon and she was only 2 years older than me. He said this was okay, but he hopes in the future I can come around to it. Eventually, my 3-year-old twins met my dad's girlfriend and they didn't like her. They were asking me stuff like who is she and other questions. After she noticed my kids' favoritism towards their biological grandmother, she yelled at me and told me I was raising my kids wrong because they don't treat her like that. I calmly told her that they would eventually come around, but she wouldn't listen and kicked me out of my dad's house. A few weeks later, my husband and I found out that I was pregnant. We wanted to wait a while to tell my family, and at the next family dinner, I told everyone the news. Everyone was happy for me and my husband, but especially my dad's girlfriend. Keep in mind, she still hadn't apologized for her outburst, and I still felt like I couldn't accept her, so when she started saying things such as, I can't wait for my grandbaby, I felt a little uncomfortable, but assumed she just liked babies. That was until she decided that if it was a girl, then we would call her Elia after her grandmother, or if it was a boy, then Samuel after her granddad. I flat out told her no as I had never met them, and she blew up in anger. She said I never took in consideration her ideas and that she wishes my stupid baby wasn't even born. I stormed out and messaged my dad saying that I decided I wouldn't let her see me, my kids, or my baby until she apologizes. I've gotten many angry texts from her and her friends since then. One of her friends even told me what she told them, and it turns out she flipped the whole story around. Am I in the wrong? My biological mother died giving birth to me. When I was 4, my dad married my stepmom. I've always called her mom and I love her so much. She's super smart, successful, confident, and beautiful. I always wanted to be like her when I got older. I'm not great in school and I struggle to remember to do chores. I also get distracted easily and sometimes fight with my siblings. I've really struggled even though I want to do good. My older stepbrother gets straight A's though, and my mom is proud of that. Last night, I couldn't fall asleep. It was really late and I went to go get something to drink when I heard my parents arguing. I know it's wrong, but they never fight, so I listened in. My stepmom was basically complaining about my grades and saying that I'm not good enough. My dad told her that I was improving, went from failing to B's and C's. She said it wasn't good enough comparing me to my stepbrother. My dad essentially said that some kids find it easier and that I've been trying really hard. And I have. I've been studying and trying to pay attention even when it's boring. I study more than him even though I get worse grades, and it's all because I wanted to meet her standards. She said it wasn't enough and that my dad was being soft on me. He got annoyed and said that I'm studying a lot more than my brother and a teenager needs some time to relax, but she didn't agree. Apparently, I shouldn't relax if I'm not doing well enough to deserve it. My stepmom went on to say that I'm a selfish, entitled brat and that my dad needs to step up and teach me better. She said it's bad enough that I suck at school, but I can't even do housework right. She said that their children, my stepbrother and half siblings, are doing great and well behaved. It's just his daughter that's a screw up. I honestly admired her so much, so hearing all of this shattered me. I love my dad and I was glad he was proud and defending me, but I really loved her. I considered her as my mother and my role model. My dad got angry at her and kept defending me, saying how much I love and admire her, so she should be proud of me and love me the way he does. However, she said that she raised me because I was his daughter and that she had to. She continued saying that I'm lucky, that I'm pretty because I won't amount to anything just like my biological mother. After this, I didn't listen anymore. My dad was in a bad mood today but didn't tell us why. I just cried in my bed. I wanted to be like her, but I'm just a failure in her eyes and she doesn't even see me as a daughter. She acts so kind and caring towards me but said all those terrible things. Am I doing something wrong even though I've been trying my best? I'm 19 and my parents are in their 50s. For as long as I can remember, I've been allergic to things like dairy, wheat, flour, gluten, and legumes. Since I was a young child, my parents have completely kept all of them out of the house. While other kids ate breakfast cereals, I ate fish and assorted pickled vegetables for breakfast. While other kids had Lunchables, I had grilled chicken or fish with, again, assorted vegetables. While other kids ate birthday cake at a birthday party, I had an apple. I never questioned this until a couple months ago. I was at my aunt's house for my birthday party and she made brownies for everyone. For me, she took great steps to make them with almond flour and avoided all my allergies. I started eating them and thought little of it until my aunt suddenly looked at me and, in a panicked way, asked me which plate I took the brownies from. I pointed from the one where I got my brownies and she immediately stood up and told me we had to go get my EpiPen. She raced to ask my mom for it and I sat there scared out of my mind because I had never mistakenly eaten flour before. I noticed my mother calmed her down and then she said that we don't have to worry because she had switched to plates of brownies and after all I had eaten the ones made with almond flour. I found this incredibly odd because really, why would she swap the plates? That doesn't even make sense, but for the time being, I let the issue rest. However, it didn't sit well with me for about a week and I finally went to get an allergy test. The doctor started with a skin prick test and lo and behold, I didn't react to any of the above substances. Then he ordered a blood test and when the results came in, they said that I had absolutely no intolerance to any of the foods that I'm supposed to be allergic to. I was furious and called my mother. She eventually admitted that she lied to me because she wanted me to be on a Paleolithic diet and avoid all temptations. She raised me with a lie, but she keeps insisting that I try to see her from her perspective. She spams my phone with messages about how healthy I am, that I never had acne, that I've been in great shape my whole life, that I have strong teeth and bones, and even that I got into a D1 college tennis team. She started calling me ungrateful for her intervention and insisting that I really should be glad that I never got carb addicted. I don't know what to think. I carried around an EpiPen for all of those years, one that I suspect may be fake as my mother never got me to replace it, and I don't even know anymore. Am I ungrateful for losing it over this? After finding out that my mom lied to me my whole life about my allergies, I cut off contact with her. Perhaps against my better judgment, I decided that I would reopen the line of communication with my mother. I decided that I wanted to have a relationship with her, but I also wanted her to see why what she did was so incredibly wrong. I told her I was willing to talk if A, she did not say anything until I had my say, B, didn't gaslight me into thinking what she was doing was right, and C, truly considered my perspective. She agreed instantly. We